Alrighty fam, welcome back to another video. So it's been a couple of days since I've uploaded, do apologize for that. I've had some family up in the area, so I haven't had a chance to get on the games. But today we're going to be continuing on with our guides on the updated guides on the demonic beasts. So I've gone through bird, both team building and the run through, same with deer, and we've just done the team building for SKOLL and HATI. So we're going to jump in and show you guys the mechanics and kind of explain what happens, how it happens, what I recommend doing, etc, etc. So let's do it. So this is the team I'm going to be running. Now if you aren't familiar with what I'm doing or why I'm doing this team, I will attach the team building guide in the description below, so make sure you watch that before you watch this one. It'll run through all the card sets, the gear, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to run a Ragnarok team. Now usually what I would do is I would run Red Freya instead, because it's the quickest way for me and it just does massive amounts of damage. But I wanted to bring a cleanse card. Basically, I wanted to bring Miguel because then I want to slow down the gameplay a little bit for you guys and just show you, maybe if you can't just bully your way through the whole thing, what you want to be doing and how you want to be going about it. So the reason why I brought Miguel is for her cleanse card and her passive. You can obviously use LR Liz if you just want to save a buttload of time. But I'm going to go on the fact that maybe you don't have LR Liz, or, you know, I'm just showing you guys a couple of different ways of doing it. So, yeah, LR Liz is obviously probably the better pick here because you'll also heal up your team and you'll cleanse debuffs. But I'm going to go with Miguel and we're going to see how we go here. So I have attack defense on Miguel, attack crit on everyone else, and then obviously Thona has attack crit resistance. And this is the gear set. Again, if you guys want more details, go check out the video in the link below before you watch this one. And let's get stuck into it. So I'm running the tier, I'm running the Freya. Now I do have Freya's Holy Relic, which is going to make this a little bit easier for me because it is going to give me the stat boost. So don't be kind of disheartened if you don't do quite as much damage or anything as I do, just because I do have Freya's Relic, and that'll make my life a bit easier here. So here are the dogs, let's get into it. So the very first thing I'm going to do on every single floor, you'll notice, will be pretty much the same thing. I'm always going to start off with a Thona card, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want to start proccing her Holy Relic, which is this one here, increases HP related stats and will also fill ult gauge. Now the cool thing with Miguel is whenever she uses a skill, there you go, increase ALS HP related stats by 6% up to 30% and fills one orb every time he uses a skill, so I'm going to get that as well. So I should pretty much just permanently have ult, hopefully. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a Thona card. Start the attack related stats. Now, when we get into the second and third floor, I'll explain why I'm not attacking the main dog, but for this now, this will do damage. We'll start off with that. Then honestly, I'll probably throw away the AoE from tier. Then I'll use that. Now, because I've used 3, once I use all 3 pieces, it's going to proc the increase in attack related stats by 40%. So every 3 times they inflict damage. So I've done 3 damages. Now I'm going to be able to use a stronger card. So I'm actually going to use this card because we're going to do more damage with the cleave card now. So I'm always going to save my stronger cards for after I get the attack related stat buff. So you guys will see I'll use this final card. It says more damage. And then now we get attack related stats. So now I'm going to use the cleave card, which is going to do more damage here. So basically, in short, with the first couple of phases here, this is more of a stat check more than anything else. At least especially this first phase, you basically just want to be able to tank it and then bully him down. He will get defense related stat buffs increases from HATI, as you can see. So his defense has gone up. So it decreases his damage taken. It depends on obviously the strength of the card. Now, the one thing that I didn't want to use in the first turn is I don't want to use this card and I don't want to use this card. The reason for is if you get a level 2 with either one of those, you get a stance cancel. As you can see, he's going to stance up next turn, so I want to make sure that I have that stance ready to go. Now, I might be able to just finish this off here because I've got a few tier cards, but for argument's sake, I will show you guys what that looks like and why I want to keep something like that. Right, so I will use that card just to heal up a little bit. Same thing with that. In fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do here is we're just going to push ults because that's the benefit of having both Miguel and Thona on the team. Don't think this will kill. So that's damage cap there. Very close. So there's my attack related stats go up as well. So it's every 3 times and includes the previous the previous turn. So for example, if you do, or when we get to it here, so he does get the decrease. I'm a bit all over the shop. I'm kind of explaining as I go because I haven't done dogs in a while, so bear with me, team. But basically what I'm trying to explain is 3 attack cards. On this one, you get the attack related stats, right? Then because you've used that card, next turn it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and you get it again on this turn. And then this go it'll be 1, 2, and then 3, then you'll get it on this turn. So it rolls over to the next stages. So as you can see here, we're currently on 0, so it means I need to do 1, 2, 3, and we'll get it the next turn. Alright, so we're going to stance cancel here. This is going to get rid of the stance. This stance becomes very annoying later in the game. It's okay right now, you can kind of get your way through it, but as you can see, it decreases damage taken by 35%, and it takes 50% of the reduced damage for allies, so you don't do anywhere near as much to the main dog, and he now has a defense-related stats increase of 50%, so he's going to be very, very annoying to get through. If you do have a buff removal unit that you want to use like LR is, it is very helpful here because you can start getting rid of all these. So basically the way to think of this is the white dog will always give himself blue buffs. The black dog, when you get to this next phase, he'll always give you debuffs, right? So that's the easiest way to kind of compare it. So what we're going to do here is we're simply going to remove the stance, and then we will finish off with a tier card here. And then honestly that'll do because I have ult on everyone now, basically. Now, so we get rid of the stunts there, very nice, and then we should kill here, yeah. So there's the defense-related stats. We're basically not critting, right? Now, this is where I recommend you always try and have it so you can basically either fly through this stage or you can cleanse it, right? So as you can see, this guy will debuff, he'll freeze on level 2 for this one, and he'll infect on level 1. So I can tell from the fact there's a level 1 here, and they're both going to be infects, which means infect can get very annoying. On level 2, it's a 2-turn infect. So again, ideally you kind of want to one-shot anytime you have the black dog up, because if you don't have a cleanse card, dealing with that is going to be very, very annoying. So having ults and stuff like this is really helpful because there is also a damage cap on him, which is 30%. So having like a Freya ult here is going to mean you can just bypass a lot of stuff really nice and quickly, but again, it does depend. So later in the stages I'll explain why you want full ult gauge for this fight, but for now it's pretty straightforward. We're going to let ourselves get infected, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use a couple of ultimates, because what I actually want to do is I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then I will use my... I'll get rid of that, and then I'll keep these. So I do, for the final phase of this, so there's only 3 phases, as you can tell from the health bar by this one, so there's not 4 phases like the previous fights. So the first phase is obviously SKOLL, white dog appears. Second phase is HATI, black dog appears. And then the final phase is they'll both appear. Now on the first floor you want to kill them both at the same time, or I think they get a full heal and they become insanely tanky. You just don't want to deal with that at all, right? So basically here you want to make sure you save a lot of good cards so you can kill them both at the same time in the same turn. I'll be pretty good because I do have a 6/6 tier ult and I do have a 6/6 Freya ult. So using these two at the same time will be more than enough. Usually that kills in one shot anyway. So I'll be able to use these two. Again, it depends on the units you bring. You want to make sure you have a good AoE ult or 2 big single target ults to kill them both at the same time. So this is where I'm going to cleanse. I should heal up with this as well, which will be nice. And then what I will do here is I will simply go... and I'll simply just use these cards just to heal up a little bit. And if actually he's going to... that's perfect. So she gives a chance to go. She's going to do more damage too, and she's going to fill everyone's ult gauge. Now obviously ideally I do want to go into the next phase with full HP, so my girl here does not have full HP, so I will be using her card just to give her some lifesteal. So that's why also using Thonar is important here, because you now have HP related stats up to 10%, right? So 40%, so our lifesteal is now 68%. So what I'm going to be doing first is I will be using that first, and then I'll basically just throw away all my ultimates. Actually, this is going to be the easiest thing to do. I'll do that, and then I will do... so everyone's going to now cleanse all those debuffs, right? And she'll heal up because of her passive, which is who've debuff removed, recover 20% of their max HP, right? So 20% is 100k, so I'm sweet. And then I can just basically yeet out ultimates here. And that's first floor. So like I said, you want to bring some sort of healer or cleanse, or you just want to bully your way straight through this. So there you go, that's my tier finishing off that. So you want to kill them both at the same time, whether that's with one big AoE ult like that, or two big single target ults within that turn. So that's floor 1, pretty straightforward so far. And honestly, the premise kind of stays the same throughout the whole thing, they just get obviously tougher. Right, so again, we'll jump in and I'll have the same basically strategy for this, except this time, I know the limits of my Thonar. And what I mean by that is the SKOLL is going to have too much defense related stats and going to be too tanky for my Thonar to deal with. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm actually going to select the Black Dog to attack with these 2 units, because these 2 are weak. Right, so they're actually potentially going to patience this dog here. So I'm not going to bother with that, I'm just going to straight away target him, because I'm not really expecting these 2 to do damage to SKOLL anyway. I'm simply just using these 2 to build ult gauge and to build her relic up. So then this one I'll use the AoE again, then I will finish off with the cleave target. So same strategy as before, except I'm just switching the focus of my 2 support units onto the Black Dog, because they're going to be a little bit too weak to do any damage to the White Dog. So this will obviously do damage, and then we start working our way down. So again, the premise itself is the same. Basically just keep on keeping on with this strategy. So again, there's the defense, or the damage reduction buff. As you can see, it does a little bit more damage this time around. Pretty much never does any debuffs, so that's not SKOLL's purpose here. SKOLL's just the damage. Now I do have attack crit on my tier, but I do have crit defense on my tier. So that's also why he didn't take much damage on that crit. So do be careful if you don't have that, because yeah, he'll take more damage there. Now that I have the attack related stats, these will actually do damage. The problem I have is I need to be pushing towards getting a stance card. Right, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to deal with as much, get rid of as many of these cards as possible, just to either kill, right, which I probably won't do, or to get another stance card, which we can hope we get. Let's see how much damage we do here. Maybe. No, we won't. That's fine. We'll get pretty close though. Yeah, there we go. So again, what's going to happen here is there we go. Good, we did get on the final one, we got another stance, because we're getting too many ultimates too quickly. So, there's the defense related stats. My tier is taking the damage, that's fine. I don't mind that. And there's the stance cancel. Obviously, you can, if you've got an ult that's got a stance cancel as well, like maybe Trader Melee, you can always use as well, and that'll cancel all buffs and stances, which is always quite nice to use. But what we're going to simply do here is I'm actually going to do... Yeah, I don't love this for me, but I'm actually going to do this, and then I'm going to have to use an ultimate just to kill here. And I'll explain why I don't love that in a second, but I think I'll actually use Miguel's ult, because that will power strike through, and that should kill. I'm hoping this will kill from Miguel. So there goes the stance. There's the attack related stat boost. There we go. Cool. So that'll heal Miguel up. Now, ideally, going into the second and the third phase, I do actually want to have full ult gauge, because again, he does have the ability to freeze. But because we have the full ult gauge, because we have the card set that says if you've got 5 ult gauge, then you don't get frozen. That's super, super helpful. On the third floor, he randomly freezes. So definitely on the third floor we want it. On the second floor, we can kind of get away with it. Now, I'm actually going to keep this cleanse card, because it does look like, again, he's going to have, at the very least, a freeze, if not a level 2 infect, because we've got you can see the debuffs there. So, I'll start off by... So I'm actually going to run a bit of a gauntlet here. So I'll start off just by doing... no, I won't. I'll save my ultimates. I'm going to do that. And then I will keep this for when they stance up again, because SKOLL will do the same, right? SKOLL will stance up as well for HATI. So for now, we're just going to keep on dishing out damage. As you can see, we did decent damage. We could definitely have killed with a Freya ultimate. Oh, there you go. So this is the unfortunate piece where now the buff is disabled, right? So this is what does happen sometimes with this. Sometimes you just get very lucky RNG, and now my tier's frozen, right? So we're not in the best spot, but what we're going to simply do here is, as you can see, I do have double stance cards, and he's going to stance up next turn, but I'm pretty confident I can just simply do, you know what, actually, we're going to do this, so we can get another alt gauge for tier, and then I'll do this, this, and this to get us through the rest of this floor. So this is where RNG can stuff you up a little bit. Like if you get that freeze card, for example, you don't get a tier card. So having something like LR Liz is actually really, really helpful, because now my tier and others are not going to be as healed up, because obviously going into the next fight, the next floor, I want to have everyone on full alt gauge, right? That's okay. Hopefully we get another tier card here. Now, yeah, okay, we do. Good. Perfect. So, she's frozen now, right? Because she doesn't have full alt gauge. Because he will randomly freeze when you don't have full alt gauge. So that's a little bit annoying, but what I'm going to do here now, all of these debuffs all come from the Black Dog. So the entire goal here is, on the second floor, it doesn't matter, you don't have to kill them both at the same time. So my entire goal here is simply to kill this Black Dog as fast as possible, and then basically heal up the rest of my team. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to yeet ult, yeet, I'm just going to yeet ults and heavy damage at the Black Dog, just to make sure he dies as quickly as possible, right? Because I can't really afford to have him alive, so he'll die here, which is good. Right, and now he's defrozen, and I've lost all those debuffs. Now that was a little bit unlucky, because I would have liked to have healed up with Miguel there, in the sense that it would have been nice to get her some alt gauge, right, by cleansing, alt gauge as well as by cleansing those debuffs to give her a bit more, health. But what we're going to do here instead is I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, then I will do that, because then that'll give me enough to get her ultimate as well, and then we're basically just going to do that. Just to cleanse, just to get that out of the hand. So I'm actually hoping this doesn't kill, because I don't want it to kill. I want to be able to finish with... Yeah, it won't. Good. I want to be able to finish with Miguel to get myself as much to full HP on everyone as possible, because what will happen is in the next fight, if everyone does not have... Whoever doesn't have full HP will be targeted by the next dog, which we don't really necessarily want. Now again, this is where it's nice to... Oh, you're going to take away alt gauge. So that card does take away alt gauge and does do the damage to take away alt gauge, which is very annoying. And we're not actually going to get anything to help out here. So I'm probably just going to honestly just deal with it. And no, you know what? We're not going to deal with it. We're gonna do our best to push for Miguel to ult here. So I'm going to do that, and I'll do that. I'll do that, and then I'll do that. So I'll get Miguel to ult here again, because this way I'll get rid of the ultimate gauge, which is what I want. Right, so there goes ultimate gauge. That's what that card does. We're going to do that. And then here. So, and he's got a revive. Oh, and he's got that card again. So this is where the dogs can get incredibly frustrating, because he now has a revive, right? And he keeps taking away my alt gauge. So this is where the lifesteal team doesn't work as well, because I'm waiting basically to use a Miguel card, and I'm not getting a Miguel card, and he keeps taking away my alt gauge. So he'll always go for the one on the far left, or the one with the least amount of health. So he keeps doing it, right? So here I'm not going to bother. She's still got enough health that I think I'll be okay. So I'm simply just going to do that. That'll proc the revive. So if you don't kill them fast enough, they will come up with a revive as well, right? So that's what that is, 30% of max HP. So that's why you want to kill this dog as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, because then you don't get the revive, and then he doesn't keep applying debuffs and random freezes and stuff to you. This dog I'm not as fussed about, so that's why we've taken a little bit longer, and then we're just going to finish off with all of this. And we're just going to have to deal with Miguel being not full HP going into the next fight. That's just purely RNG there. Being targeted, getting the buff disabled. Like if she hadn't had that buff disabled in that second phase, we would have cleansed, everyone would have healed up, and we would be in a good spot here, right? Not we're in a bad spot, but just is what it is. This is also why I like bringing Tyr, because if I get him to full HP, I do have him True Awakened as well, and he does have the taunt for the first turn of this fight. So I can heal up a little bit with Miguel to get myself a little bit more prepared. So going into this, it's pretty similar, to be honest. Again, they're just obviously going to get a little bit tankier, so I'm going to do the same process I did last time, where I'm going to use both of my Miguel cards and my Thonar cards on the Black Dog, just to start proccing the attack-related stats. Once I get the attack-related stats, I can switch back, but because I haven't got them yet, we're not going to do any damage to the big guy. So that's why we're going to do that for now. Again, the White Dog will give himself buffs. The Black Dog will give debuffs, so you want to try and get through the Black Dog phases as fast as possible, because the White Dog buffs are mainly just like defensive and damage resistant buffs. They're not like increase attacks or anything like that. Like I said, like you guys saw, the most annoying thing that dog does is take away ult gauge, which is very frustrating when you're trying to ult and trying to have a increased lifesteal team. Now this, you'll notice as you go through the floors, they counter sooner and sooner. I'm lucky that I've already got basically got 2 counters up here. So what I will do is I'm just going to basically start going in and keeping these 2 as I need to. So what I'm going to do now is I will then use this, because this will proc the attack related stats, because I've had 1, 2, 3, and this will be 1, 2, 3, and then again, right? So this should show, yeah, 1. So this means 2, 3, and then we get the attack related stats again. And I'm actually going to merge these 2 together, because this way I get, I'm going to have Miguel ult, which means I'm going to be able to use this to lifesteal back with her a little bit from this guy, because it's actually a high chance that he's going to go directly for her now. Yeah, there you go. And I might actually have to restart. I might have played this slightly wrong, but that's okay. You live and learn. Oh, don't attack again. Okay, very, very lucky there. So what I'm actually going to do is I will do that. Now she might get frozen next turn. So what I'm going to do is, rather than using her ultimate, I'm actually going to use Freya's ultimate, because that's going to guarantee the kill. And then what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to use her ultimate. I'm actually... Yes, this is going to give us... This is where the little thought process comes in. She just survives. We've only got 1, so that'll give me a 20% increase in my HP-related stats. And my lifesteal's 21% at the moment. So honestly, I think I'm going to save it. And I'm going to use the... Yeah, I'm going to use his ult, because then if he gets frozen... Because next turn I'm going to get a debuff regardless, so it means I'm going to be able to cleanse it with this. So that's going to be the game plan. And again, instead of all of that, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to actually do this again, because this is... I've still got a stance cancel card. And this is going to give me another set of the HP related stats. Hopefully this is making sense, guys. I am kind of changing my mind, obviously, every 10 seconds, just to kind of show you guys and basically map up my head what the best possible setup is. So it does take a little bit of process and thinking in terms of how do you want this to look and how do you want to like go into the next phase. Because, like I said, this phase isn't too bad. This dog isn't too bad. It's SKOLL that is very annoying. So there you go. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but it actually popped up with immunity there. So what that meant was... we got very, very lucky, because he was going to freeze Miguel. Because we have full ult gauge, that didn't happen. So what I'm going to do here is... I'll do that. I'll do that. And then I'm going to do that. And then I'm actually going to save... No, I will. I'll use that to basically give me additional solidify and additional protection, just in case they do end up going for my Miguel again. Alright, so we've done a decent amount of damage, and now I'm cleansing everyone else as well of all their debuffs, which means Tyr's going to keep his ultimate, and the team are full healed. There you go, that has frozen my thing, right? And now we're back to full ults on Miguel. Ouch. So this is again, you're going to attack again? Good. So this is again where I'm going to cleanse, and it's going to cleanse all that recovery disable and stuff, right? Which is exactly what I want to have happen. Because I want to be able to ult with this girl, and then basically heal herself up again. So here what we're going to do is we're just going to use these cards, because then we're going to get ult gauge back as fast as possible. Ideally, I use the Miguel to ult first, and then I use the cleanse, but I had to do that just to get rid of the recovery disable, just so everyone gets healed up. Now, done. So now we're going into the next phase. Everyone's on full HP, but not everyone has ult gauge, right? And I do ideally want everyone to have ult gauge. Right. Okay, so we got lucky. They didn't freeze any of them. We have a lot of solidifiers, which is really good. Now, I did forget to kind of cover some of the passives, so I do apologize. The worst one you can get is the fist one. The fist one is basically if they have higher, I think it's attack stats than you, they do more damage. So that's always tough to deal with. This is probably one of the best setups you can have, but now that we're kind of units are a lot more overpowered, you don't need to worry as much about the passives. So the start of ally's turn, increase enemies damage taken by 10% for one turn, excluding the enemy with the highest HP. So my highest HP unit is this girl. It's Freya, is it, at the moment? 626. Yeah, there you go, so that makes sense. So Freya is not taking additional damage, right? By 20%. So again, because I have multiple ults, I want to get rid of SKOLL as fast as possible, because he's the one that gives me all of these. Right, and because of that, I can't use this. So all I'm going to simply do here is I'm just going to throw ultimates at him. And again, we don't have to kill them at the same time. We simply just need to kill SKOLL first. And then he won't freeze people, and we won't have to deal with any of that. So there's 1, 2, and then this will kill. There we go. So now we no longer get debuffed, and now it's pretty much clean sailing. We just need to finish off SKOLL. Right, and everyone's at full HP. So it's touch and go there for a little bit. My Miguel almost died, but we're going to end up pretty comfortably here. So again, we'll use that. We'll use that. We'll use that. And then we'll do that. And this will pretty much give me ults again. Because of these two just constantly buffing, just giving me more and more ult gauge. So that's always very nice, obviously, when you are facing a dog that will freeze you if you don't have full ult gauge. That's also why I recommend that card set in the previous video, just because it will make it a lot easier, and otherwise you're very RNG heavy, right? So we're just going to finish off the dog here. Everyone's got full HP, but we're basically done. So he'll take away ult gauge again, because he just likes to be rude like that. And that's that. Oh, let's get a big... Is this going to finish it off? Let's see. And we're done. So that is basically the dogs. Come on, Miguel, do it. Perfect. Exactly how I wanted to finish. That's damage cap. And that's the dogs, guys. So the actual process itself is pretty straightforward. Basically, just SKOLL will debuff you. SKOLL will buff himself. HATI will debuff you. Have a way to cleanse through those debuffs and dish out damage. Or just go sheer damage and just melt your way through it. Bypass damage caps. Try RNG so you get single targets of cleaves and stuff like that. There's multiple different teams you can try. I like the Ragnarok team for its consistency and just damage. But that is how you complete the dogs. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.